Hey guys, welcome back. This is Clayton53 Dan, back here again with a new What If. This is What If Deku was in COD Black Ops, COD Black Ops. And where he last left off, he got one for all. In this case, that's going to be great, but, well, I'm just going to hint this real quick. He did not technically get one for all. What happened, or, well, what he is going to do is, and let's get into it. So, Deku is about to receive one for all as he thinks he thinks that maybe getting one for all would be bad for him at this point. As he looks at All Might and shakes his head and pushes the hair away, saying, "No, All Might, this is not right for me. From what I've done in the past and what I'm probably going to be put through." And the army knows, like, he is up for any job they give him, so Deku's like, either during, like, school time or whenever, if I'm ever called up by the United States, he's basically he's part of the U.S. Army instead of the Japanese, but he's friends with the Japanese Army. The reason I'm saying American instead of Japanese is because that's where they found him, in America, so, yeah. And he says that whenever this quirk could be used for more bloodshed than would be on your hands, All Might. This quirk would have blood stained on it. Not even All For One would be able to see the horrors that happen in human life. He might be a villain, but he's not someone that I've ever had to deal with. As All Might gives a second thought and things like this, he's right, like, this is made to, like, only defeat, like, All For One, and the more you think about it, the more you put into it, like, he's going to be put into the line of duty and the line of gunfire instead of saving someone and capturing the villain. He's going to be killing the villain. So All Might goes ahead and agrees with that and still trains Deku up until the entrance exam. As Deku says, he should give it to someone more worthy than him. As I'm going to say, instead of Deku. And also, about the ship, the more I thought about it, and someone gave me this, like, no ship, because, like, Black Ops and crap like that, I'm, like, in my head thinking, like, oh, I was going to give them, like, Yandere's, but the more I thought about it, like, that could be its own separate series, and plus, Yandere's Call of Duty, that would work in one way that I don't want to go down, and I am not going to. It'd be weird. So, I'm going to end off. So, yeah, that's where I'm going to say that. And the entrance exam comes in. All Might in the hero, or basically broadcasting station, is looking for either, like, 1A students or people that are worthy enough to have his quirk. As he's seeing, like, what they do and what they do during this, as they thought they would, like, try to, and Nezu and, like, all the teachers are trying to, like, be funny with, like, Izuku, like, so they took the description of the robots and turned them into, like, the robots they have in here. As he turned some of them and says there's also going to be, like, 5 pointers, which are armed, and the people think, like, oh, it's funny and stuff like that. As Izuku's put into his own one, as people are, like, all looking over there, like, why does he have his own one? As they think they're gonna have, like, a little laugh and, like, move him over. As they open up the gates for Izuku, as it shows up the robots from Call of Duty, like Black Ops 3. Those, as he sees it, as they see that terror on his face, as he pulls out a dingo and an RPG, as he starts mowing through all of them, killing them and just undoing everything. Going through this entire field, just hiding in houses, grabbing snipers, and killing them off the bat, as Nezu is controlling them, as Izuku gets one of the hardwares and hacks into the system, because basically he can hack into the minds of people, so he hacks into the system of the hardware and starts messing with the hardware. As it comes up on the control screen for Nezus saying kill itself, as all the robots have now exploded, as Izuku looked at one of the cameras and basically in a glitchy, the camera starts to glitch, and it on screen it says, which one of you heroes thought this would be funny? As they get like a radio call in, like he basically asks like who did this, as people are like, oh, like that's funny, like haha, like they thought like, oh, like they saw the terror on his face, like, okay, look, we were trying to just play a little prank on you. And I'm like, prank? This is not no prank. These robots did things that to people that even Hero Society would call more villainous than All for One. So if you guys really think making these robots is going to be funny just to play on me, you have the wrong thing. If you're going to play a joke like this, you better be willing to get shot straight in the head. Last time someone took control of these robots, they got the exact same treatment. As they're thinking like, okay, maybe they should not do this another time, as they start apologizing stuff and saying that he'll be basically in 1A because they pulled like that dumbass prank. So, and I know this would not be like, you guys might be saying like, oh, Nez is like smarter, they wouldn't do this like at all. I just want him to get angry at the teachers for doing something stupid. So, what better than pull the robots from Black Ops 3 and put them in the world now as a prank. As Suzuki walks out of the thing with a face that everyone sees that it has some time to it and it has seen things that are unbelievable to the human eye. As I'm going to say 2 weeks go by, of course he's already know he's going to be a 1A, as on Monday he goes to school. It's going to be the quirk assessment, as Mr. Aizawa gets up saying, alright, quirk assessment and no like Oracle or something like that. They're all complaining and stuff. As Aizawa looks at Deku and basically says, I heard about the entrance exam, and from what I've heard and what you can do, you don't have to take the exam, Izuku. As he says thanks and I'll be fine, as Mr. Aizawa nods his head and says everyone else outside us, they're like all asking like what happened during the entrance exam, as Aizawa's not gonna bring it up right now, as he wants to make sure like he's alone with like every other classmate except Izuku. As Izuku, well, kind of gets like a fake message to go to Nez's office or something to get a personal apology from him, but after the quick assessment, everyone gets the same thing except Izuku, because he's not going to be in there. As the next one is, well, Izuku going up to the principal's office, as like they're all asking like, why is he going to the principal's office? As basically Mr. Aizawa pulls everyone into the dark, like turns off the lights in the classroom and pulls out like not a projector but like an online screen, as it shows up a big video and what they did, like what he went through and what they did for his entrance exam. As so they're like all asking like, what is this, like, oh, this looks cool, like what was this? As Aizawa looks at him and says, this is what happened during Izuku's time. As they're like, wow, that looks so cool, so futuristic and stuff like this. As Aizawa looks at him and like just, even though he's like tired and crap like that and like really annoyed, he looks at him with like a really serious face of like just horrified, as he says, this is not funny. What some of the teachers thought like a quirkless nobody for the military could do. And yeah, it was some dumb teachers. It wasn't like the main teachers. It was like some dumb ones. And Nezu thought like, oh, a robot idea would be cool. Like he thought like adding just like personal like more realistic robots, down to earth robots for Izuku, but not the ones they actually used from the video. But I guess they did. That's what they did, and Nezu did not like it. As Aizawa plays the, well, I guess it would be movie. As it's going through all the years of Izuku, as they're watching not in just the way of like, oh, this looks cool, like this and that, as basically as I already told them, like this is what happened to Izuku. As they're like looking through like all this, as what they're seeing is not just villainous, just plain right evil. Villain doesn't even describe the word anymore. It's just a meaningless word to them compared to what he went through. As always shows the entrance exam, as it showed the video of what Izuku did during that exam. Basically terminating every single robot in there without even having a second thought of killing anyone. As they're like comparing like what happened, and even now the students are like shocked like what Izuku has gone through just to get. How is he even alive? Like they're like asking like so many questions. Like there's no way he's this mentally stable. Because yeah, after the things like I know I could say right now, like he went through crap that would hell, if I said it right here right now on YouTube would have kicked my account off and said no more. Like if I want to describe it, am I past the 30-second mark where I can say curse words? Yeah, it's fucked up. I know that like cursing isn't a good thing, but that's gonna be like my one curse word of like the video. As of course the next 2 days go on, and on Thursday they have the heroes versus villains, as they all have their hero costumes. As Deku doesn't come down, but what comes down is a bag instead. As they're all like, oh, that's a cool bag. As he opens it up and sees like his old uniform, saying, hell yeah. Seems you guys tighten up a bit. As he puts on the uniform and looks around the thing, saying, hey, where's my arsenal? As that's like, oh, well, don't you have like or something on you where you're just gonna use your fist? As he looks at him saying like, really? My fist? Alright, well. Azuku, knowing that this is his bag, he knows like where his like personal like ammo is and stuff like this. As he always has what is like one of the guns I could give? Oh, yeah, no, I don't want to give him like a 1911. I want to give him like something like one of the weapons from Black Ops 3. One of the pistols. I'm going to say the RE45. You know, that burst pistol, and that one-shotting pistol that, not deagle or anything like that. The Rifty 9. And primary, he's going to use 2 primaries. Depends on what situation he's in. So, Izuku's out on field, as from his bag, well, his personal bag that he brought, he looks at All Might saying, hey, I have these 2 weapons, bring out his 2 pistols, having the RE45 and the Rifty 9, saying, okay, I also have these 2. I want to say, like, he brings out the R50 Heisen. Basically, it's a DLC weapon that recharges ammo. I forgot like the name of it, but it recharges ammo in Black Ops 3, and I loved using that gun as well as the Dingo. But what else he brings out is the, I want to say, I want to say, oh, the KVK, what is it, the KVK 90 RM? or something like that. It's basically the KVK. That gun was like amazing. Or the Peacekeeper, one of those two. But I'm gonna say instead of like those like weapons, I'd say like, so he has the recharging light machine gun, and he has the Locust, because that one's a really good sniper. As they're like okay, as he's gonna have like climbing and crap, and instead of like a double jump, he has a quadruple jump. So yeah, no, because that's what technically they have, like a quadruple jump instead of like a double. You basically, instead of, no, not quadruple, 5 times the jump, so quadruple, quintuple. He has a quintuple jump, so he can jump 5 times. So it's Uraraka and Deku versus Bakugo and Ida. As Uraraka is, well, Deku makes up a plan for Uraraka, saying to distract Ida and Bakugo while she goes in, and I'll be out here. As Uraraka is asking like why, as Izuku gives her the RE, saying this has rubber bullets if you need to defend yourself, but watch out for fire. Well, just remember this, I won't hit you. As Deku says for her to go ahead, as he jumps into a building, he goes into another building, as they say go, as they see Deku run off into another building across the street. As All Might's asking like, what are you doing, Izuku? You should go in there with your partner. As Izuku looks at him and says no, as he goes into the other building and breaks a window. As he sees Uraraka going up the floor, as he sees, of course, he's tracking him with, what was his name? Pulse or something? The guy that brings down the beam and can look everywhere and see, like, everyone in red, so yeah. As he sees Uraraka and Bakugo about to meet, as he gets on the floor they're about to meet on, and only Bakugo seeing Uraraka is, like, asking, like, where's that Izuku guy at? I want to beat him and make sure, like, I'm the best out of, like, 12,000 years. As Bakugo says, I guess he'll be the one I'll take out, as Uraraka's, like, pointing the gun at him, like, saying stop and stuff like that. It's like, oh, they put rubber bullets in that, as, of course, she says, yeah. As Bakugo's about to come to attack, as All Might and everyone else hears bang and a window smash and Bakugo bleeding in the corner for a next second. As they see smoke out of Izuku's gun, saying, target down, Uraraka, move up to the next floors. Bombs on top floor with Ida, as he also commands down to All Might, saying, you better go get that boy. He's just been shot with a high caliber round. As they're like asking, like, why would you use live ammunition? As he looks at him saying, well, you're gonna have to deal with crap like this, so it might be a practice, but I'll tell you this right now, All Might. You've seen some of the stuff they do. If you're distracted, you will die on the spot. And sometimes using live ammunition will teach someone that you might want to be cautious of what's happening, not on just the inside, but the outside. As he moves up to the bomb floor, with Ida now knowing that, okay, Izuku is not in the building, but Uraraka is. So Deku still over there looking at Ida, as Uraraka and Ida are now fighting, as Uraraka's about to get pinned down to the ground, as right out of nowhere, and they haven't gotten, like, any signal, like, Ida hasn't gotten any signal that where Izuku is. He thinks he might either be in the vents, somewhere, like, he doesn't know where, though. As Uraraka, what Izuku also gave her was a fake speaker that did footsteps. As she's pinned down to the ground by Ida, as, not with the capture tape, but what Ida does, like, Izuku, it seems you came to help your friend, as out of nowhere another glass breaks and Ida is hit to the wall, hurt and on the ground. As Izuku puts a grapple line over and jumps in with the LMG. As Ida looks up and sees a barrel aimed straight at his head, as Izuku looks at him saying, "You give up now, villain, or even if you get up, you might just die right here." As Ida says, "I give," because you cannot just take like a 4-inch bullet and just say, "Hey, let me walk this off." No, that thing is thick, and it's going to hurt for a long time. That's basically what it did. It just passed through the side. It didn't bit. It left a pretty good hole, but it didn't like scar them. It was easily patched up and good. Because a bullet that big is not going to be good, but it left a pretty good scar. But did it scar? No, it didn't, because of recovery lady or recovery girl. I don't care what her name is. But after a little while, Izuku was scolded, and Momo said like what the heroes did wrong. As Izuku says, "Yes, what the heroes did wrong now. Back in my time, well, if I keep on saying back in my time, I'm going to sound like an old person, but those are the types of things you had to look out for. So if you were Woods, hell, if my friends were here, they would have taught you something." Actually, I was like, what they would teach me? How to actually stand up for yourself. As he looks at her, saying, "Not all things come from swords and shields. We're not living in the Bronze Age, lady. We're in the age of weaponized people, and of course quirks exist, but my things come from live ammunition, so either you go ahead and don't know where I am and get shot by me, or you're ready to go ahead and try to out-snipe me." As All Might, and of course, both Bakugo and Ida were sent to Recovery Girl, as Recovery Girl scolds All Might like, "Oh, how did you let him get this hurt, and what happened to them?" As Izuku comes in saying, "Ah, you must be Recovery Girl, is it? This is my fault." As she asks, like, "What did you do to these two?" As he says, "Well, it was heroes versus villains or whatever crap, so I wanted to see how good they were compared to, well, people I had to train in the past." As I was like, what do you mean train in the past? Saying it basically took over a week or two to train some people in my platoons, but the rest of my people took like a month or two. But mine were fast learners. Either you learned fast or you were going ahead and get dead on the ground. As they asked, like, what did they do for drill trainings? As it was basically gunfire, as also sniping test. Can you out-snipe the other person? And basically what they did is paintballs, but this one they did but because there's like more quirk and more destructive powers, he decided to use live ammunition instead of paintballs. Because if he used paintballs, it wouldn't be useful at all, so he used live. Which, they're like surprised, like, why would you do that? Saying like, get something through their skulls whenever I can, so heck with it. As they just like let out like a sigh, like, "God damn it, kid." As says, "Call me kid all you want, but I'm older than you by a couple thousand." Well, technically I'm older than All Might. As I don't remember, like, I know Recover Girl's probably older than 60, so he says like, but my mental mind is basically 60, so I know I'm older than All Might. As Zuko goes ahead, and I'm gonna say, yeah, it's gonna be the USJ and then the UA Sports Festival, and then I'm gonna have to do something as well. Or whenever I get to like a good point to stop this, because I really want to do, well, actually have something to record after this, so 25. So yeah, USJ, UA, and I'll see what I could do. No, I'm gonna start off my one at the next part of this at whenever I reach there, and you'll see what it's gonna be. Basically Black Ops missions, but yeah. So yeah, Izuku and goes to the USJ with everyone else as they're like all asking what their quirks are and stuff like this as they look at Izuku. As Izuku already knows what they're about to ask, as Izuku looks at him saying, "Remember, I'm older than you. Quirks didn't exist back then, so I'm technically quirkless in your eyes, but I have more power than you think in my eyes, or more people's eyes." As whenever Izuku gets to the USJ with all the rest, villains pop in. Of course, it goes all the same with all this stuff as the gnome is beating down on Aizawa as Froppy and Mineta and Izuku are on the boat as they're like trying to make up a plan as they don't know like what happened to Izuku as they look over on top of the boat as he's laying down with, I'm gonna say, what was the high powered weapon? It was basically the one where it was like all made out of metal. It was like super high powered as Deku has an FMJ on it and multiple other things on it with its regular scope as well. So he breathes in and holds as he lines up the cursor, basically the dot with the Nomu's head, as he waits for a single second whenever the Nomu stops, as the Nomu is about to prepare a punch to kill Aizawa, as Aizawa is like really hurt right now, as the Nomu lifts up both hands and puts it over his head, as Suzuku is basically behind the Nomu on the ship, as Deku says, "Gotcha," as he pulls the trigger, as everyone hears this loud bang, as the bullet flies through the chamber and flies out of the barrel and hits the Nomu through the head, exploding the Nomu's head. Because that was an APHE round. An armor-piercing, high-explosive round. Which killed the Nomu instantly, as the Nomu dropped to the ground. As in the water, they're all surprised that one kid took out the Nomu, as Deku pulled out. Basically, he also brought the Tempest gun. Is it like a rail gun, or is it like just an electric gun? I guess it's like a stun gun, just a lot more high powered. As he pulls it out and says, "Time to shock." As I know that's like pretty like stupid, but hey, I don't care. I forgot what he said, so he starts shooting at the water as he tells Suyu and Mineta not to get in the water because it's electrified now. As all the villains are like getting electrocuted and everyone's starting to go down, as Izuku uses the boat to get over to land, and Shigaraki's pissed as he tries to run at Izuku and touch him and kill him, as whenever he gets close, Izuku basically moves his hand in a way to bring Shigaraki's hands behind his back, put him to the ground, and he twists Shigaraki's arms just a bit too much, which both popped him out of place, and he accidentally broke one of his arms. As they hear two just bad pops and like one crack, as everyone that just heard that are like just as they'll look at Shigaraki, as like they hear like one man just like screaming like bloody murder of hell, as Kirigiri teleports Shigaraki out of there. But before he does, like the heroes get in, as they also heard like the pop and crack, as they also hear the bloody scream of Shigaraki, and as they see him leave, they see Izuku and they know what he did, which isn't good. And they already know that if he wants to get serious, he will just pop their bones out of place if need to. As they kind of congratulate Izuku for doing a good job, and that see him in the end on the USJ, so yeah, on the UA Sports Festival. So, yeah, Izuku going to UA Sports Festival. This one should actually not be that well done because he doesn't have a quirk and it's nothing really good. So, yeah. Izuku is... Oh, goddamn. Izuku is put in... Actually, I know what to do instead. Because of him not having a quirk and him still being, like... a soldier and stuff like that, he was put in Stanch as, like, I guess a veteran? Would he be a veteran or... I don't know. Well, I don't care either. So, Izuku would basically do a speech and then go sit in the bleachers as they would like all be asking like. So Izuku would walk up and give a speech saying that all us students here today are here to show off our abilities and our powers. As they're like, quirks, you mean? As he looks at him saying, yeah, quirks or whatever the hell you want to call them. And show that we're the best school ever and like whatever. As they're like, oh, like where's the enthusiasm? Where's like why is this kid like not enthusiasm? As he looks at him saying like, after a little while you lose it when in war. Like you lose it after you see someone die. So I don't care about really being more enthusiastic. The only time I really had much energy was whenever I knew that we won a battle or else the target was captured. As Izuku goes off to the stage and gets in the bleachers, as everyone's like looking at him like, why is he in the bleachers? As Nezu comes up on the thing saying, because of one of the pranks our teachers did in messing up our entrance exam, he is not going to be taking this assessment. But if you guys want to see the entrance exam thing, then he is more than welcome. If he allows it, we will show it to the audience. As of course he's allowing it to the audience, as it shows what happened during the entrance exam, and like they're like, oh, it's just robots and stuff like this. As they're like, as Nezu like says like those are not just robots. As he shows like the regular pictures of the robots they use in the normal exam and versus the one they use for Izuku. As they're like, oh, it's just more advanced. So in this case, it was more hard to take down. As Nezu looks at Izuku like from the like, screen, asking like, should we show the audience or like do you want to like keep this more on the lower end? As Izuku like nah, just like sure like he like gives Nezu the thumbs up, like show it, like he's fine with it. As like, okay, I guess this is gonna take a little while. Students, teachers, if you want to sit down, like, as like they're all like asking like, no, sports festival and stuff like this. As like, we don't want to see like some dumb movie. As like, we just want to know why the kid is like, those robots are different and like all this crap. Saying, well, this is why they're different. As they're like, if you want to know, then watch the thing. If you don't, then leave if you want and come back whenever we start the thing. As they're like, all right, fine. As Class 1B is like being cocky, like, oh, he's just out because he's like the best thing ever. And plus, he's like Class 1A. As they all sit down and watch the little movie of Izuku's memories. As everyone is in shock on how he's stable. And Class 1B and Monoma are looking at him like, okay, number one, hero. He's that in-between hero. He's not a hero, but he's also someone that he will kill someone. So Izuku is still standing out as everything goes in canon, and Bakugo wins, Todoroki getting second, and Ida getting third. So even though I know that's not that like cool, like, oh, Azuki did this, and like stuff like this, but the more you think about it, that joke is like really harmful to someone who went through the stuff that he went through. So I'm gonna leave it off like right here. This is part 2 of this. I don't care what you guys do. Bye.